you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
The storm is now making shore.
The Miami Hurricanes Watch with host Mike McCoy is on. The Watch is mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Shobe. Time for hardcore Miami Hurricanes talk. Here's your host, Mike McCoy.
Canes fans, college football fans everywhere. What's going on? How are you doing? Good evening, good morning, wherever you're accessing us, whether it's live or on the road. Hope everybody's having a great week so far. It is November 29th, 2022. Tuesday, November 29th, 2022. It's December in a couple of days. Isn't that crazy? That's insane. That's just nuts. I can't wrap my head around that. But we are nearing the end of college football season. It is officially the end of year one of the Mario Cristobal era. And listen, we're going to talk some Canes, but since the season is officially over for Miami football, the football season is officially over for Miami football season. But recruiting season never ends. Okay, recruiting season never ends, and if you've been keeping an eye on it, there's some things to be excited about. You know, transfer portal. Some guys have hit the portal for Miami 7 to be exact, but it's over, man. It is over, and this season went in a direction that nobody saw. Nobody saw 5-7. Mario didn't see 5-7. Canes haters didn't see 5-7. Nobody saw 5-7. Obviously, Canes fans didn't. Nobody saw Miami not making a bowl. I definitely didn't. And just a disappointing season overall. No breaking news there. But if you didn't see, if you were too wrapped up in your frustration to not see the promise, okay, and I say that confidently because if you look at the names that are going into the portal, there's a common thread. There's a common thread of guys that didn't play, and there's going to be more. There's 7 right now, all right? And if you look at the portal of guys that are becoming available, oh, man, listen, I don't know anything, okay? I could get information, sure, but if you just do simple homework, like look who's putting their name in the portal, look at where they're from, maybe look at where they played their college football, or look at coaches that they have relationships with, it may tell you something, okay? It may not tell you something, but I like to look at things as, as them being a possibility. I guess I'm a glass half full type of guy. And man, oh man, just news all over the place. College football rankings came out today. We're going to talk about that. We got Gabby Urrutia joining us in the next segment. We're going to talk about that. I will go ahead and talk about the Canes game in a few minutes or for a few minutes, and the transfer portal, some recruiting news, and let's do that. Let's do that right now, man. And I guess I'll just let's get it out the way because I don't really want to talk about and meddle too much in the season. It sucked. 5-7. There was games that Miami should have won that they didn't. There was games that Miami was not supposed to win that they probably should have won. Texas A&M, and my eyes are, God, Jesus Christ. I was on I walked into a room today at work and my eyes have started itching ever since. Let's hope this is it. But let's do it, man. So I mean, look, nothing to talk about really in terms of the last game from Miami. Pittsburgh. Miami had won 4 games in a row versus Pittsburgh. I don't know if people realize that, but Miami had Pittsburgh's number for the past several years. The last time Miami lost to Pittsburgh was in 2017. And Miami rattled off 4 straight wins. So Pittsburgh, obviously got their revenge, after losing 4 in a row to Miami this past Saturday, 42-16. For anybody keeping count, that was the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th time this season that Miami has allowed 40 or more points in a game. Obviously, they all resulted in losses. It is the first time since 1975 that Miami lost 5 games at home. And of those 40-point games that Miami opponents, scored 40 points or more against Miami, there was 5 of them. I believe all of them were at home. Or wait a minute. Middle Tennessee was at home. That's 1. Duke was at home. That's 2. Florida State was at home. That's 3. And Pittsburgh was at home. That's 4. The lone 40-point game that Miami gave up on the road was at Clemson 2 Saturdays ago when Clemson was ranked number 9 in the country. So, or was it 10? I can't remember. But back-to-back games giving up 40-plus points. And 4 games in a row in which Miami gave up 40-plus points at home. That being Duke was at home. Florida State was at home, and Pittsburgh was at home. I'm sorry, 3 in a row. Three, and that's just crazy. Oh my God. The last time Miami didn't give up 40 points at home was in that 3-point loss versus North Carolina, which, they were setting themselves up to win up until that Rooster fumble that that pretty much ended the game after he got the first down. If you guys don't remember that, I'm not saying he should have went down. I'm just saying that's salt added to the wound when he lost that fumble after he gained the first down. I believe it was 4th down actually. But in any event, man, what I do want to talk about other than the game, I mean, no, I'm not going to talk about that game. I take that back. I want to ask you guys if there's anybody out there, who do you all think improved throughout the season? Okay, who do you all think regressed throughout the season, and why do you think they improved, and why do you think they regressed? Because players that improved, do you think it was because of coaching or because of their own merit and hard work? And same question asks for guys that regressed during the season. Do you think it was because of coaching, or do you think it was because they just didn't have it? They just didn't have it, and there was a difference maybe in the system or the culture being changed. And it kind of, remember, look, Manny's like that boss, that was cool with you coming in late a little bit, right? And then you got used to that. And then you get this new boss, and now I'm not having it. The bottom line is the bottom line, and we got to make money. And you want to know what? I'm not going to be losing my money because you're coming in late. And listen, that rubbed people the wrong way, apparently. And we could talk about that easy when you look at guys that answer the transfer portal. I think the one that sticks out the most to me is, and I'm getting off track here, but I'm just going to tackle the transfer portal real quick. The names in that transfer portal from Miami, because I want to get back to guys who you thought improved or did not. But we're up to 7 because the latest to put his name in the transfer portal was Avante Williams, Gilbert Frierson, Dad Franklin, Elijah Roberts, Alan Hay, defensive tackle, Jalen Harrell, cornerback, Keyshawn Washington, safety, and another safety in Avante Williams. I think the most shocking one to me is Avante Williams because this is a guy that was recruited by Mario when Mario was at Oregon. Okay, can't remember if Avante was committed to Oregon or not, but he was definitely flirting with them if he wasn't committed. And so, that's interesting. A Mario guy entering the portal. And listen, I wish all of these guys well. I really do because I know that they could ball, especially Tay, especially Elijah Roberts. That one sucked. Gil Frierson sucked too. But these guys, they're going to try and go ahead and get some tape somewhere else before hopefully having enough of a career to put on tape for NFL scouts. But going back to guys that improved and didn't improve, I got Will Mallory at the top of the list, okay? And say what you want about Will Mallory, man. Set the record, and I know he did it in 5 years, but that's not his fault, okay? If I was in college and I wasn't a first-round grade, guess what? I'm staying until either my eligibility runs out or until I have a first-round grade. He was the former for Will Mallory, and he ended his career after 5 years playing in Miami, but he ended up being the all-time leading tight end. I'm sorry, the all-time leading touchdown reception leader for tight ends in school history with 14. And I think that's pretty cool. And in Will Mallory's career, and I don't have it pulled up, and I'm going to do it right now, Will Mallory's stats. So obviously, like I said, 5 years played in college football, right? And here go his numbers year by year. His very first year as a true freshman, 2018, Will Mallory's first year on the field, and Mark Richt's last season as a coach. He only played in 3 games. He had 5 receptions for 37 yards and 1 touchdown. Year number 2 was first year of Manny Diaz, and if everybody remembers correctly, the highlight that people like to use for that season for Will Mallory was the game after the Florida game when Miami traveled to Chapel Hill. And I can't remember if it was a 2-point conversion or a touchdown pass that Will Mallory, he had it and he dropped it. But in any event, he played 6 games in that season. Had 16 catches for 293 yards and 2 touchdowns. Junior year, 2020. This is the year that everybody had an option to redshirt as a COVID, use that COVID redshirt year. He played in 10 games, had 22 catches, 329 yards, 4 touchdowns. 2021, another junior year for him, was 11 games played, 30 catches, 347 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Back-to-back years with 4 touchdowns. And then senior year this season, obviously 12 games, played in all of them, 42 catches, 538 yards, 12.8 per catch, and 3 touchdowns. For some reason, I don't know why I felt like he had more than 3 touchdowns. But those are Will Mallory's numbers. So 14 career touchdowns, 1,544 career reception yards. Listen. And by the way, he gained all ACC second team, which I think was a bunch of crap. Okay, I thought he should have maybe well, actually, no, I take that back because Aronde Gadsden, the second, Syracuse's all-world tight end, was even though they use him all over the place, kind of like Kyle Pitts, okay? Because this guy, he's built more like a tight end than anything, okay? And you probably could argue a lot like Kyle Pitts that he probably should have been listed as a receiver because he played a hell of a lot of snaps at the wide receiver position, all right? And we're going to see how much of whenever he decides to go enter his name into the NFL draft, we're going to see how much he's going to fight NFL teams to list him as a receiver because that's more money when you get paid as a receiver than you do as a tight end. So we'll see. But he rightfully so gets the first team tight end in the ACC. We did have a first team selection as an ACC defender for the Miami Hurricanes, and that went none other to arguably the best safety in college football, Cam Kitchens, with leading the nation, tied for leading the nation with the most interceptions, 6 interceptions. Congratulations to Cam Kitchens. Other Miami Hurricanes that made first team, there's only one other one, punter Lou Headley. And if any of you have ever tried his beer, Deadly Headley, it's actually pretty good. I'm not much of a beer guy, so for me to say that, there you go. First team punter. So two Miami Hurricanes in the ACC first team. Miami total 10 ACC honorees in all. So you look at the second team, the Miami Hurricanes on the second team, Will Mallory, as I mentioned prior. That was the only one offensively. And then defensively for Miami, none on the second team, no specialists. Third team all ACC, you had Henry Parrish. And you could argue, if he didn't miss however many games it was, I think he missed like 2 games maybe. May have been more than that. He gets third team all ACC running back, 49 votes there. The other names from Miami on the ACC third team was cornerback Tyreek Stevenson. Okay, Tyreek Stevenson. And I'll tell you why I disagree with that, because the guy that I think should have got it was the cornerback that started opposite of him, DJ Ivey. Say what you want about DJ Ivey, but if you're still riding him for getting blown and mossed every time you see him, you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention, especially that FSU game where Al Blades Jr. had his eyes where he wasn't supposed to have them, and you just saw a trailing DJ Ivey at the end of that touchdown pass on the first drive of the game versus FSU. It's not the case. DJ Ivey probably had his best season as a Miami Hurricane, so I probably could argue that he deserved that spot over Tyreek Stevenson. In any event, that's the second defender for Miami on the lone defender for Miami on the 13 defense. And then honorable mention all ACC, you got DJ Scaife as an offensive tackle for Miami. You got Jalen Rivers as a guard. You got Akeem Mesidor as a defensive end. You got Leonard Taylor, okay, as a defensive tackle. Let's see who else is on here for Miami. There was 10 in total. Oh, here we go. Andre Borregales gets honorable mention for ACC as a place kicker. So there you go. It's 10. Clemson had 12, by the way, and Clemson led the ACC in most players named to an all ACC squad. So Clemson with 12, Miami with 10. And listen, man, it's this season sucked. But you want to know what? Why I think that, other than it being year one and the whole coaches, new system, this, that, and the third, another reason why I think that this is something that needed to happen for Miami is because these bad habits that were learned in the and I'm not just going to put it on Manny, okay? Do I blame most of these bad habits on Manny? Yes, I do, because there was things that shouldn't have been, and I'm not even talking about on the field. There's a bunch of stuff. Like if I sat here and told you some of the things that, have been made aware to me of that went on in offices, in meetings, behind the scenes or off the field, and things that at Manny didn't do recruit-wise, or certain coaches that wanted to be here before they were on the staff right now. Some things you just can't defend. You just cannot defend them. And so I was a big Manny defender until I couldn't defend him anymore. And so I think that you have to weed out certain mentalities, certain habits, and guys have to unlearn a lot of things on and off the field. And without having to get too much into it, we're just going to go ahead and take a break, because I hate talking about these things like this. I want to talk about the good stuff. I want to talk about what to look forward to. And I think Gabby Uridia is going to be able to help us in that regard. So we're going to take a break. And on the other side of the break, we're going to be talking with Gabby Uridia of 247 Insider for Miami Recruiting. So stick around. I think there's going to be some stuff you're going to want to hear. And we'll be right back. You're watching the Miami Hurricanes Watch on the 305 Sports Talk Network. I'm your host, Mike McCoy, and I'll see you on the other side.
You're listening to the home for hardcore Miami Hurricanes coverage. This is the Miami Hurricanes Watch with Mike McCoy on the Sports Talk 305 Network.
Red Recover now offers a simple-to-use, professional-grade light therapy device designed to help your dog heal and live a healthier life. Red Recover emits red and infrared light therapy based on the same science that NASA developed, all in a soft, flexible housing pad powered by a convenient, rechargeable lithium-ion battery. Say yes to science and give your dog the care it deserves with Red Recover.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
You're locked into the only platform truly dedicated to South Florida sports. This is the Miami Hurricanes Watch on the Sports Talk 305 network. Here's your host, Mike McCoy.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for sticking around with us throughout that last break. You're watching the Miami Hurricanes Watch with right here, myself, the host, Mike McCoy. And thanks for joining us, man. We got Gabby Rudy of 24/7 joining us, and got something to talk about, man. Hopefully some good news. And Gabby, how's your week been so far, my brother?
It's been good, man. Just kind of staying busy, all that fun stuff. I'm back in the car. Baby's asleep, trying not to wake her. So I'm back in the Honda Civic, man. Just kind of enjoying life. How are you guys doing?
Not bad, man. Can't complain. How was your Thanksgiving?
Bro, I got food poisoning on Wednesday night.
Oh,
so
not cool.
Yeah, on Wednesday night. So I didn't even get to have my Thanksgiving. So I was on the DL for Thanksgiving, which is like the worst day of the year to be on the DL. But yeah, man, I had Thanksgiving like on Saturday morning before the UM game, like by myself. Because
God, man. Well,
I'm sure. I hope yours was better than mine.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have food poisoning. I mean, the good thing is that you probably lost some weight going to the bathroom a few times. And hopefully you had some leftovers. Well, you did have leftovers because you had some bathroom on Saturday, so that's always good, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Wasn't ideal, but we got through it.
All right, cool, man. Hey, Gabby, man. So listen, I don't want to ask you too much. We're going to talk about some Canes, but obviously want to talk about some college football as well. But the latest name to hit the portal, Avante Williams, and somebody kind of tipped me off to that a couple of days ago that it probably would be happening in a couple of weeks, and it happened today. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, I'm not really fazed by any of these names going. Avante Williams, obviously a big name, and from a recruiting standpoint, in terms of him being a highly ranked guy.
Right.
I think you kind of have to be black and white during this process. At the end of the day, he was a backup safety on a 5-7 team, and that's basically as far as I go there in terms of how any of these transfers really impact me. Again, we're expecting high numbers. I think I think I've said it on the show, expecting anywhere from 20, 25, maybe you can go higher there. I think we're at 7 now, so I'm just kind of at the point where nothing would really bother me or impact me whatsoever. I mean, I think that it just creates more spots for other guys,
right?
For Mario Cristobal to go get dudes via the portal, and definitely through high school recruiting. So it's just about loading up the roster, getting some more of his guys in, and getting this thing rolling again.
Amen to that. And just to recap those 7 names that are in the portal so far: Gilbert Frierson, Dad Franklin, Elijah Roberts, Alan Hay, Jalen Harrell, Keyshawn Washington, and Avante Williams, of course. So that's 7, just like you hit it on the head. And obviously going to be more. And like you said, man, I don't think any name should be surprising to anyone. Now, if you have a personal and emotional attachment to someone, then it may be
right.
Like Gilbert Frierson. That kind of sucked to see. I hated to see that one. I hated to see Elijah Roberts. His mom's is cool people. And I think he's a good player. I think he's a great kid. And so those are the 2 that kind of like, damn it, you know what I mean? But I'll tell you one thing. I think that Avante didn't surprise me just because of the simple fact that, this is a guy that was recruited by Mario, in Oregon. And that just shows you that, sometimes things just don't work out,
Sure.
And Mario wanted this guy, several years ago, and, whatever the case was. But it's also probably an attraction as to why so many high school kids, recruits, are eyeing Miami, because they're like, that guy's on the field, I could play over him. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a part of the whole pitch, right? Like, they're selling kind of the opportunity to come in and compete. And
right.
I think that's a big part of why they're able to get some of these recruits in. Obviously these kids know they're going to have to come in and work. I don't think they're out here promising spots, but again, these guys, there's going to be opportunity. It's a new staff.
Yep.
I think they're really going to kind of, give this thing a fresh start, kind of blow it up a little bit in terms of the roster. So, if that creates opportunities for guys to come in, potentially earn time as freshmen, so be it. And I mean, I think it's understandable that guys would see that situation, be attracted to it. And then, of course, it's Miami, it's Coral Gables. It's a great place to go to school. It's a nice area. We're in the NIL era. We don't have to hide from that. And Miami's obviously at the forefront of that in terms of the college football landscape, or as good as really any program can be. I think Miami's extremely competitive there. So a lot to be attracted to with Miami right now. And, Again, they're doing their thing on the recruiting trail. Obviously, picked up a big commitment tonight as well.
So, I mean, since you brought it up, okay, let's go ahead and talk about everybody's favorite subject, especially now that it is officially the off season for Miami.
Yeah.
Recruiting wise, man, what can you tell us the latest news?
Yeah, biggest news that came out Tuesday night. Miami flipped Collins Akiempong. He's a top 247 athlete from Michigan who, just a few minutes later were named the number 2 team in the college football playoffs. So extremely impressive work there from Mario Cristobal. He's a 6'7", 254-pounder, 6'11" wingspan, 10-inch hands, has a pretty insane vertical as well. Just big time athlete. Got to watch him over the summer at the Future 50 up at Bradenton at IMG Academy during like this big showcase for the Under Armour All-Americans. Definitely can move raw, but a guy that nearly committed to Miami over the summer, took an official visit, and then, kind of went back and forth for like a week or so, debating whether he wanted to commit to Michigan or to Miami. Commits to Michigan over the summer. Ultimately, it's Mario Cristobal who he's going to be playing for. And, that's huge news. I mean, they've been chipping away there and chipping away there and chipping away. And, of course, they won out that recruitment. And that's obviously a big deal because Collins Akiempong was the second highest rated commit in Michigan's class. So, I mean, Miami's plucking stuff from college football playoff contenders. I mean, I think it's just a testament to what Mario Cristobal and these guys are capable of doing, and that's what's going to make these next few weeks so exciting if you're a Miami fan.
Where is it that, maybe the coaching staff or maybe your own opinion, where do you end up seeing him lining up down the line, maybe around the time that he's ready to put his name in the NFL draft?
Yeah, I think he could end up being just like an edge defender. Again, that length is kind of insane. And, obviously this is probably a pretty unfair comp, but again, just from a size and stature standpoint, pretty reminiscent of Greg Rousseau. I can assure you Greg Rousseau was nowhere near 250 pounds when he got to college. So you have to be encouraged about the physical development already kind of in place for Akiempong. Again, when you talk about the kind of go-go gadget arms with, a near 7-foot wingspan, I think he's someone that they're going to kind of, develop and kind of teach him, just go get after the passer, set the edge, man, be a factor in the run game. I think his ability to get after the quarterback is going to be unique. He tore his meniscus as a senior. So, he is in the rehabbing process. I'm sure he might still rehab when he gets to Miami in January. But, I think when he's ready to go, he's going to be a fun one to watch running around Green Tree.
Oof. So, is there anything that you can share as to what changed in his commitment, or I'm sorry, not his commitment, his recruitment? Because like you said, was this close to coming to Miami or committing to Miami over the summer? Was he one of these guys that visited when nobody knew, or obviously Coach Mario Cristobal and the staff, they're relentless. They don't stop just because they're committed elsewhere. That doesn't stop them from calling you every day, texting you every day, and we hear this from the recruits constantly. But do you know anything that probably changed throughout his recruitment? Well, did he have an official that nobody knows about?
Yeah, no, I mean, he officially visited over the summer. He wasn't a secret visitor. He didn't just pop into campus and tour it recently. It seems like he's just been in steady communication with these guys. And, he spoke to our guy out in California at 247, Greg Biggins. And I found one of the quotes pretty interesting. He kind of said how after he tore his meniscus, he kind of really thought about where he wanted to be and, kind of thought about the family environment at Miami and how much they kind of how much they've always cared about him as more than just a football player. They've always cared about his values. That's something that they've always spoken about. And, he said he felt like, Miami was family to him in the way that they kind of still continue to recruit him, even though he didn't commit to them. And I mean, honestly, truthfully, he kind of told them on his official visit that he was committing to Miami. So for him to flip flop on that, end up back at Michigan where he was originally projected to go. And then for Miami to just continue to kind of chip away there and kind of just continue to recruit him, I think ultimately meant a lot. And again, when it gets down to December, man, these kids, I mean, it's not the same as, that summer high of committing to a school. You are at the point where it's just like, hey, where do I see myself? Like you need to start having those very real conversations about where you're going to spend your future. And, I think a lot of guys here in December are having those conversations with families, with parents, and with people around them. And that's why I think you're going to see so many flips, so many things like that, because again, it's not the high of, oh, I had a really good visit here in the summer, I'm committing. It's like, wait, this is a life choice. And again, I think Miami plus everything around it, again, we don't have to be scared to say the word NIL, all that stuff around it going on. I think obviously plays a factor into a lot of these recruitments, and Akiempong is definitely someone I would categorize that as well.
Did he hint anywhere, or do you know of anything about his recruitment being shut down?
Well, I mean, not really. So the last 2 weeks, he spent some time at UCLA. He was at the UCLA USC game as a UCLA recruit. He was in the Coliseum on Saturday for USC versus Notre Dame. So in USC's recruiting section. He's from Ghana originally and was kind of a basketball player. He didn't see a lot of games or anything like that. I don't think he went out to many places, and watched and took in college games or anything like that over the course of the season. Took some summer official visits. I think LSU, Michigan, Miami were 3 of those summer official visits. I might be missing somewhere or something that, maybe one visit here or there that I just can't remember off the top of my head. But, it was LSU, it was Miami, it was Michigan over the summer. And then, committed to Michigan, obviously now going to play for the Hurricanes.
Gabby Uridia on the Miami Hurricanes Watch on the 305 Sports Talk Network. We are talking Miami Hurricanes, talking commitments. Gabby telling us right now that Collins Achiampong, did I pronounce it correctly?
Achiampong, I think.
Achiampong, okay.
Achiampong.
Commits to Miami. Big-time recruit tonight. Miami flipping him from the University of Michigan. Michigan's formerly second highest rated recruit. 247 has him listed as a 4-star. Their rankings, composite 4-star player with a .9305 composite ranking. 14th best athlete in the country according to 247 and 9th overall athlete composite wise. Big time 6'7", 254 as defender. This guy is probably gonna, in certain situations, you could imagine him lining up kind of like a Calais Campbell or a Greg Rousseau on the inside on maybe pass packages for sure. And so big time get for Miami. And it just shows you that Miami is, or Coach Cristobal and the staff, they're big whale hunting, okay? And they're going after guys that probably nobody you either forgot about or didn't remember. Trevante Citizen came out of nowhere last year.
Yep.
One of those guys that came out of nowhere. But again, Gabby, thanks for that information. And so let's kind of flip the script, man. Let's kind of talk about some college football talk and the rankings that came out today, man. USC gets into the playoff as the, hold on, let me pull it up here. I can't remember if they were.
I think they're the number 4 team.
Number 4 team. Here it is. So Georgia, in order of appearance, Georgia 1, Michigan 2, TCU 3, Georgia 4, and just for conversation's sake, Ohio State 5, Alabama 6, Tennessee 7. Gabby, do you see a situation in which Alabama can possibly get into the playoff?
I mean, it'll be interesting, right? Like, if TCU loses to like Kansas State in the Big 12 title game, I think that would create some chaos. It'll be interesting to see how they kind of maneuver Ohio State and Alabama fighting for a single playoff spot, because it seems like those are the 2 darlings of the college football playoff, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see which way the committee leans there. Obviously, I think they're telling us that Ohio State would get the nod right now over Alabama.
Right.
But yeah, I think there's definitely room for chaos, man. I mean, I don't think Georgia's going to lose. I'll probably rule them out there. Who does Michigan plays in the Big Ten title game?
I do not know who they're playing in the Big Ten title game. I don't see them losing it.
Yeah,
that's for one thing.
I definitely don't see them. I feel like TCU is potentially the one, and I don't know who USC would have to play in their Pac-12 title game. So I think TCU is kind of the dark horse here. Like, man, what happens if Kansas State just kind of beats them? I think it's possible. TCU's obviously had a few stunners. I think the last time I was watching one of their games, it was like they've been trailing in the second half of 6 different games this year. So they've definitely, again, great teams win at the end. I'm very results oriented. It doesn't matter how it looks as long as it's a win. So they've gotten it done. They deserve to be in that spot. But Kansas State, man, that's also a fun team to watch. And I think that they have some stunner potential in them. And honestly, truthfully, I love me some TCU Horned Frogs, but I am all about the chaos. And I would love to see one of these 4 teams lose, because I want to see the Bama-Ohio State debate just all week and see how that ends up playing out. It'll be a ton of fun.
To answer your question, so right now, atop the Big 10 East is obviously Michigan, okay? Yeah. Ohio State behind them, then Penn State. The Big 10 West, the very scary Purdue Boilermakers with a 6-3 record, 6-3 conference record, and an 8-4 overall record. So that's
Purdue can win their side of the conference, but Miami can't win theirs. So that's what all that tells me.
So Purdue is the Big Ten West representative as of right now.
That's
and
insane.
then over at the Pac-12, to answer your question, obviously USC. And then, actually, hold on. The Pac, it's Washington. So big. There's no. I guess according to the standings right now, I'm looking at ESPN.com. I guess they started that one conference deal over at the Pac-12 because there's no more North and South.
Okay, who's number two?
Washington.
Okay, USC Washington. I could see.
USC
I can get
Washington.
on board with some Washington Husky upset stuff. I mean,
Yep.
again, I'm an advocate for USC just because I think USC and Miami mirror each other in
Right.
a lot of different ways. So I would love to see USC in the playoff. I think USC is one of those schools that it's better for college football for USC to be good.
Right.
So all for that. So I would like to see USC in it, but TCU is the one where I can be like, all right, if they had to leave, I think I'd be good with that.
Right. So I mean, everybody knows there's never been a 2-loss team represented in the Final Four, and if USC were to lose, that would notch them their second loss. Ohio State only has one. Alabama does have 2. So that history in and of itself may be the answer to our own questions. But there have been crazier things that have happened because remember, the goal of the committee is to have the best 4 teams out there. Now, just because you got 2 losses doesn't mean that you're better or worse than somebody else out there. So we'll see how that handles itself. But as it stands right now, the rankings that came out earlier today: Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC. And listen, I'm okay with it. I don't see right now, a USC. Let's say if things stand as is, Georgia USC would be a pretty interesting first round.
Oh yeah, that would be a super fun first round game. I would almost want that to be kind of like the national title game, but I think because I don't know, I feel like we saw the Georgia-Michigan dance last year. I don't know if it goes much differently. Hopefully it does if Michigan's kind of that squad, but I mean Georgia steamrolled Michigan in that first round game last year, so I would be down for Georgia USC. Would be a really fun matchup actually, and then it would right now be Michigan TCU. I think Michigan would cruise. So let's go for some chaos, man. Because Michigan, how about some Michigan Ohio State in a rematch for a college football playoff spot? It'd be like it was like the last college basketball season. It was like Duke versus North Carolina for like a national championship. Like
you can't.
Doesn't get any better than that.
No,
like I'm all for it. I want to see some stuff happen.
And listen, I know a lot of people and yourself, you just said it, Michigan recruits, but I wouldn't be totally surprised to see TCU win that game. But can you imagine a Georgia TCU national championship game?
That would be super boring.
That would be.
That would not be fun for anyone, I don't think.
Nah, man, it would. I mean, it would be Texas versus Georgia if you look at it that way. But for all the good and all the hard work that TCU has gotten and beating the guys that they're not supposed to beat to get here and finally get that recognition, I don't think they stand a chance much against Georgia, but we'll see, man. That's why they play the games, as Chris Berman likes to say. But man, I know you got to go. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike.
Thanks for that news, and I don't want to make up, be the reason to wake your daughter up. So we'll let you go, man. Have a great week, and we'll keep in touch, man.
No doubt, Mike. Appreciate you, man.
All right, man. All right. And we'll be right back to talk some more college football, talk some more Canes, maybe talk some more recruitment on the next segment of the Miami Hurricanes Watch here on the 305 Sports Talk Network. I'm your host, Mike McCoy. Stick around.
You're listening to the home for hardcore Miami Hurricanes coverage. This is the Miami Hurricanes Watch with Mike McCoy on the Sports Talk 305 Network.
Red Recover now offers a simple-to-use, professional-grade light therapy device designed to help your dog heal and live a healthier life. Red Recover emits red and infrared light therapy based on the same science that NASA developed, all in a soft, flexible housing pad powered by a convenient, rechargeable lithium-ion battery. Say yes to science and give your dog the care it deserves with Red Recover.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
You're locked into the only platform truly dedicated to South Florida sports. This is the Miami Hurricanes Watch on the Sports Talk 305 network. Here's your host, Mike McCoy.
So let's look at the top 6 in the college football playoff rankings. Final rankings come Sunday exclusively here on ESPN. And Alabama is number 6. I mean, they're going to be behind Ohio State at number 5. And I have felt like for a while there was a ceiling on Alabama that they couldn't get into the 4 regardless of what would happen. I can't imagine anything would change that now.
No. And listen, Alabama, everybody points to the close losses. I get it. They also had a bunch of close games with Ole Miss and Texas A&M and Texas. They haven't been a great team this year. You've seen Bryce Young be great in spurts, but this hasn't been a team that you look at that's been dominant by any stretch at any form in the season, really.
I think Bryce Young has been great in more than spurts. He's carried them a lot of times. Number 5. Buckeyes perched and waiting if something happens in front of them.
Yeah, they'll be waiting, and the biggest Utah fans in the country, a team that they beat in the Rose Bowl last season. Now Ohio State fans, go out, buy your Utah gear and get ready for if the possibility of Utah knocks off USC, Ohio State is sitting there waiting.
Okay, let's do number 4. SC, as expected, Trojans play for the Pac-12 championship against Utah at number 3. Number 3 is TCU playing for the Big 12 championship against Kansas State on Saturday at noon. College game day will be there. Now, Georgia has been number 1 for a majority of this ranking season, but Michigan now has the best win of the college football season by going on the road to Columbus and handling the Buckeyes, pulling away from them in the second half. Is that enough to make Michigan number 1, or the Wolverines holding on to number 2? Let's see who number 2 is. Michigan. So that means Georgia hangs on. Now, Georgia's got great wins, too. They have a neutral site win against Oregon's quasi-neutral site. It was in Atlanta. And the home win against Tennessee when the Volunteers were at full strength. Enough in the committee's eyes to hold off Michigan for the top spot.
What do you guys think? I mean, look, I think that it's pretty exciting. I mean, you heard Gabby. I am all about the chaos. I mean, look, the Canes are out of it. I don't give a damn what happens. I just want to see some really, really good football played, some storylines, and some matchups. That's the thing about bowl season that's so exciting. You get to see matchups that, these cross-sectional games, and I think it's really awesome. So as it stands right now, again, Georgia will be playing USC if things hold. Georgia, USC with a crazy offense. USC with a system, Lincoln Riley, he brings over Caleb, former quarterback at Oklahoma, versus a crazy defense in Georgia. Georgia's defense is probably the hallmark of that team and what keeps them going. Don't sleep on their offense. I'm just saying that defense can probably score some points and their offense not have to do much, right? So Georgia USC would be a crazy, crazy matchup. Are you guys giving that game? Let's say everything holds. Are you guys giving that game to Georgia? Just F it. They can't beat USC? I don't know, man. It's college football. You're a college football fan. You've seen crazier things. You've seen Boise State beat an Oklahoma team in the Fiesta Bowl several years ago on a crazy play. 2 crazy plays won that game. That hook and lateral to send it into overtime, and then the Statue of Liberty in overtime to Ian Johnson, who proposed to his cheerleader girlfriend right after the game. Like, we've seen crazier things. We've seen on Halloween night, Miami beat a Duke team after Al Golden was fired a few weeks ago. 9 laterals on that play. You know what I'm saying? Crazy stuff like that. So, hey, look, man, Georgia USA I think would be a great game. Michigan TCU, I'm not counting out TCU from beating Michigan. Do I think Michigan will win? Would I take them? If I'm a betting man, yes, I would. But I wouldn't be shocked to see TCU pull it off. So, there's a lot that can happen. And obviously, Ohio State can still sneak in. If things go their way, let's say USC loses. But But listen, I'm excited to see things happen. But that's how it stands right now. Georgia, Michigan, TCU, USC, and on the outside looking in, you got Ohio State and then Bama, probably with no chance to get in with 2 losses at the 6th spot right now. So you got 4 teams in the top 10 with a 10-2 record. 6 Alabama, 7 Tennessee, Penn State 8, Clemson 9, and then Kansas State ends up rounding out the top 10 with a 9-3 record, followed by Utah at 11. And so the other top 25 team with a 10-2 record, you got Washington at 12, Tulane, Tulane at 18, and there she goes with 10 win teams in the top 25 of the CFP rankings. That's kind of crazy, man. That's kind of crazy. I wanted to go back to players who you guys thought, because I kind of got sidetracked, and I wanted to get to Gabby when he was coming on in his segment. Players throughout the season that get better throughout the season for Miami. And in no particular order, off the top of my head that I could think of, I mean, I have it pulled up here. John Campbell got better. If you guys remember, he wasn't even supposed to start at the left tackle position. Zion Nelson was supposed to be the incumbent left tackle. He was never healthy throughout the season. They say, all right, let's bring over what we think is the next best left tackle. And John Campbell from Orlando held his own the entire season. Okay, I'm not saying the guy was first team all, whatever. But I don't think – tell me if there was any point in the season that you were screaming, oh, I can't wait to see him get off the field. Not me, because I paid attention to that left side of the line, particularly because Zion wasn't there. And John Campbell, number 74, I mean, he held his own. I think he got better throughout the season. I wasn't going to say DJ Scaife, okay, but because I've always thought him as a guard. But I guess you could kind of throw his name in there as a guy that didn't regress if he stayed the same, okay. But I think he got a little bit better throughout the season. Obviously, Kobe Young on offense. Will Mallory talked about him. Akeem Mesidor. Actually, I'm not going to say he got better because I don't know exactly what he did last season as a West Virginia Mountaineer, but he was definitely one of the best defenders on Miami's team this season. Okay, I think Leonard Taylor got better. The thing about Leonard Taylor with him, he never really was a guy that you question his talent. It's really more the consistency, and you would see it one play and you wouldn't, kind of like a Marcus Forston. Remember that name? Former Miami Northwestern #1 defensive tackle in the country in that Randy Shannon class of 08, the last #1 recruiting class that Miami probably had, since 08. That class was crazy. Arthur Brown, Travis Benjamin was in that class, bunch of names. I think Leonard Taylor got better. I definitely think Jordan Miller got better. Big old number 91, 100%. I think he got better. You guys are not going to want to hear this, but Corey Flagg got better. Okay. The only thing holding Corey Flagg back from being a complete linebacker is his lack of being mobile in the open field. Kevin Steele says it. Coach Cristobal says it. Everybody says it. He's the brains of the defense, which is probably what keeps him on the field for 3rd and long. But that is my frustration with and I'm a big players play, coaches coach guy. I've been very vocal in the fact that I think that a lot of these struggles for Miami are more so on the players than they are the coaches. Okay. I'm not saying the coaches don't have any faults. I'm not saying that. But if I was to give a number, I'd say the struggles for Miami this season, 80-20 on the players. I can argue 90-10 on the players. Okay. I'm not saying these coaches are perfect. There's several instances that show that they are not. But one of those instances are, why is Corey Flagg on the field on 3rd and long? I love Kevin Steele. I think he's a smart guy. He's a dinosaur, has been around the block, knows everything. There had to have been a reason why you keep a guy that his weakness, one of his main weaknesses, is coverage on 3rd and obvious in the open field. It's a struggle for him, right? Couldn't have Chase Smith out there because, he wasn't healthy throughout the season. He kind of got rolled up on in one of these practices. Let's keep it at that. Wes Bassett ended up starting the last 3 or 4 games of the season. I don't understand why he couldn't be out there. Keontre Smith is one that you can say, oh, he's former safety. Why not have him out there? But he didn't look the best in the open field. I don't understand why James Williams on 3rd and obvious wasn't that guy to play. Everybody talks about, oh, bring him down at linebacker. I'm not one of those guys that say bring him down at linebacker exclusively. I don't like that because a linebacker is supposed to be your best tackler on the team. James Williams is not that. So everybody thinking, oh, bring him down at linebacker. Think about it before you get what you ask for, right? a linebacker is supposed to be the best tackler on the team, and James Williams is not that. Do you really want him at linebacker? And then everybody says, oh, put his hand in the dirt, put 20, 30 pounds on him, he'll be unblockable. It's too late in his career for that. At least that's how I feel. I think it's too late in his career to say, add on 20, 30 pounds, which is not impossible to do in an off season, okay? But then to learn a whole new position, I'm not saying he's not athletic enough to do it, but maybe if this was him coming in as a freshman, then okay, especially when you got Jason Taylor coaching you, fine. But you're going into your third season of college football. You're going to be asked to completely change your body and completely learn how to play something completely different. And I don't know. And I'm not saying he's not physical, okay? 6'5", 220, I think you're naturally physical. But you're going to be going up, but you've never gone up against 300-pounders consistently in your lifetime, okay? And you're going to be doing that? I just don't think that's the answer for him. So I think he's a situational defender. I think there's times that you put him at safety. I think there's situations that you put him at linebacker. And I think why not? I mean, you saw Derwin James put his hand in the dirt and go rush the quarterback off the edge. He did it in college. He does it right now in the NFL. I got a friend who's a big-time Chargers fan, and he tells me that they still use him in that position. So if he can do it, James Williams can do it. Again, I think he's a situational defender. He's that joker, okay? He's that joker that you could pull out at any point and say, here, boom. And that's how I think James Williams should be used, okay? Not exclusively at safety, not exclusively at linebacker, not exclusively at D end. Just kind of all over the place when the situation calls for it. Will he transfer? I have no idea. Do I want him to transfer? No, I don't. I just think he can get better. And you want to know, honestly, what I think the only thing that kind of held him back, this is me not knowing anything about the young man, never spoken to him a day in his life, don't know any inside stuff about him, although I could probably get information if I wanted to. I really think that pressure got to him because I don't think that he can't play football, okay? I think that's the 6'5", 220, I'm the 5-star guy that's decommitting from Georgia and staying home and this and that. And he always wanted to be a Cane. The kid is a Cane through and through. He loves being a Cane. He talks about it all the time, and he shows it on the field in terms of how pissed off he gets, and his emotions get the best of him. But I think pressure got to him, bro. And whether you guys want to hear that or not, I'm just telling you what I think. Okay, that's just what I think. But going back to Corey Flagg, I think Corey Flagg got better. Obviously, Cam Kitchens and there's not many names to sit here and say they got better. But that's what I think about that, man. I don't know if you guys want to comment on the chat, and we'll kind of go back and forth. But and then the other thing I wanted to talk about, obviously, the 3 real McCoys. This is how we're going to go ahead and close out this segment. And actually, you want to know what? No. I want to give an overall assessment and about each position, just really, really quick. Overall assessment, really quick, and kind of give them a grade. All right. And this is going to be a really, really quick thing because it's getting towards the end of the show, and people got things to do and everything like that. But let's go position by position, and it's kind of grade Miami's roster throughout the season real quick because Miami obviously did not look hot on offense, and they look spotty on defense at best. So let's go. Let's do it. Quarterback position, grading the position from beginning of the season to end. It sucks, and I'm gonna have to give Miami either. I think I'm being nice when I say C-. Okay, C- because obviously Tyler Van Dyke's health had a lot to do with that. Okay, and I guess you could add him onto the guys that regressed and didn't get better. Injury had a little bit to do with that, but you saw how he looked when he was healthy, right? So C-, and I think I'm being modest, okay, for the quarterback grade throughout the season. Running back, you had Jalen Knighton, you had Henry Parrish, you had Don Chaney, who didn't play much, Lucius Stanley, flashed here and there, but then Gervonta Citizen was a guy that nobody got to see because he got hurt in fall camp, or was it summer camp? I think it was fall camp. And then who am I missing? I'm missing somebody. Oh, Thad Franklin. There was a point that he led the running backs room with touchdowns on the ground, led the team with touchdowns. He had 5 on the season, or maybe 6 it was. I know it was 5 at last check, but the running back room, I'm going to have to grade it like the quarterback room, C-, and I think I'm being modest, okay, because so much potential. They were ravaged by injuries, okay, so much potential, and it didn't get to shine. It really did not get to shine, and that sucks. The tight end room. Let's talk about the tight end room. I already talked about Will Mallory being one of the most improved players throughout the team. I think the most improved player, at least offensively, from Miami. His production alone isn't good enough to get it into the B grade, okay? Because you think about it, Jaleel Skinner, I think I would have liked to see him play more. He didn't. Khalil Brantley is a guy that should have been playing more. 100. He's a Mario guy, 100% a Mario guy. Dominic Mammarelli, more of the blocking tight end, and then of course Elijah Arroyo is a guy that you probably would have seen fireworks from had he not gotten hurt throughout the season. So unfortunately, Will Mallory's production is not enough to get this into the B grade. I'm gonna have to give it a solid C, maybe a C plus. I think that's stretching it. A solid C from the tight end position. The offensive line, in the beginning of the season, Miami looked like they were going to be able to run the ball. Okay. But then you heard Josh Gaddis say that the offense changed 2 or 3 times. He completely changed the offense, and this had to do more with TVD than anything. But if you're going to change the offense, you're not just changing things for the quarterback, you're changing things all around, right? And so I think that had to do with a lot of why the offensive line didn't look how they did towards the beginning of the season. Remember, Miami did whatever they wanted to do at Kyle Field that Saturday night. They ran up and down the field on these guys, all right? And that's supposed to be a defense that, oh my God, with so much talent, Texas A&M, I don't even think, did they qualify for a bowl? Let's check real quick. Hold on. The standing. Texas A&M, I think they finished with the same record as Miami. Let me go to the SEC real quick. Texas A&M, for anybody that doesn't know, like myself, finished the season with a 5-7 record. Damn, Jimbo. Texas A&M finished the season with the same exact record as Miami, and they only beat Miami by 8 points. Talent isn't everything, folks. So, what is it? Offensive line? Is that where I'm at? No. Yeah, offensive line. Yeah. So, listen, because of that, it sucks. I'm going to have to give them a D. I'm not going to go ahead and say C minus. They got worse as the season got, played on. I'm going to go ahead and give them a solid D, maybe a D plus. The wide receiver room, another position in which was probably going into the season one of the most talented rooms on the team. Okay, nobody knew about Kobe Young. Okay, but you knew about Jacoby George. Okay, you knew about Michael Redding. You knew about Rashard Smith. You knew about Xavier Restrepo. You knew about Romello Brinson, who was my favorite. He was my guy. He was my breakout guy. He was my preseason breakout guy, and unfortunately, that never happened. Okay, I think that guy can be a top 2 receiver on the team. I don't know what's holding him back. I thought that part of the reason holding him back was the fact that he was practicing at every receiver spot, throughout the summer and in parts of fall camp. He was practicing at every receiver spot. So I'm thinking, well, maybe that has a little bit to do with him kind of not getting it because he's learning every receiver spot on the team. I love Romello. Okay. And then, of course, Frank Ladson, if I forgot to bring him up. And I'm missing some other guys, but with X being out and, everything else, I think what probably makes it a C minus, and I think I'm stretching that too. I'm leaning more towards the D side of the fence. Is it probably would have been better if Kobe Young would have been discovered a little bit more earlier in the season, right? If X didn't get hurt, that probably would have made things a little bit nicer. But I think that rounds it out for the offense. And then defensively, maybe the best unit on the team was that defensive line, right? Remember, there was a point in the season that Miami led the nation in getting to the quarterback with only 4 guys, which everybody questioning, Kevin Steele, why don't we blitz more? Why don't we blitz more? Because he didn't blitz much this season. And maybe it was because of that, because, well, we're getting to the quarterback with 4 guys. Miami was the only team in college football to get to the quarterback with only 4 guys 40% or more of the time without sending extra help. Think about that. All right. When he did blitz, it was like, oh my God, like, okay, look what happens when he blitzes, right? Now, imagine we didn't always get there, but getting a sack isn't always the best thing. You just want to put pressure on the quarterback, get him off his spot, apply pressure, maybe rush him into a decision that he doesn't want to make. So I'm gonna give that D line a B minus to a B. All right, because there were certain games in which that run defense was porous. Like it just sucked, right? So I'm gonna give them a B minus. Juggle between that. The linebackers, Wes Basaint came on. I already told you about how I felt about Corey Flagg, even though he shouldn't be in situations in where he has to be relied on to cover, in my opinion, no matter how much of the brains of the defense he is. That's just me. All right? I'm not about to argue back and forth with coaches and guys that have done this for a living. But if I could ask Kevin Steele that question, it would be that. What is the thinking that goes behind having Corey Flagg on the field when that clearly isn't a strength of his, right? And that's no knock on the young man because he does everything else well, right? But that position, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll give it a C minus, and I think that's C to C minus. Between C and a C minus, I'll give the linebacker position. Cornerbacks, oh my God, cornerbacks, C minus. Okay, I think the bright spot was DJ Ivey. Okay, DJ Ivey on the season, all right, and I think he led the team in interceptions. I'm gonna pull it up right now. I'm sorry, what am I talking about? That's Cam Kitchens. He had 6, but in terms of a cornerback, 2. I know he had 2 interceptions, and I'll verify that right now. On the season, DJ Ivey had defense. Here it is. Boom. DJ Ivey ended the season with 38 total tackles. 28 of those were solo. He had 2 interceptions. One of them came against FSU. 5 passes defensed, forced 2 fumbles, and recovered 2 fumbles. Not the year that you want, not the numbers that you want from a guy that's been here, 5 or 6 years? I'm not sure. Okay. But I think he's one of those guys that got better as his career, went on. And again, a lot of people wanted to look at him as, oh my God, he got burned again. You're not paying attention to the whole thing. You're ball watching when it came to DJ Ivey. I'm not saying he didn't get burnt. But this year, in comparison to many times in years past, last year prior, yeah, that went down. That number went down. He was not victim to as many one-on-one. Oh my God, what the hell are you doing out there? If he gets a chance at the next level, I do think that you'll see him kind of in the mold of an Antrell role, more in the safety. Definitely, that's the case for Tyreek Stevenson, because Tyreek Stevenson is a goddamn safety that should have never been playing cornerback. I don't understand why he was running back punts last season in his first season from Miami. That guy doesn't seem like a punt returner to me. I don't care. I never understood it. But the cornerback play, C minus, D plus. All right. Safety play, I think you got to give that because of Cam Kitchens, and I know that there was a lot left to be desired from James Williams and Tay Williams and Al Blades and all these guys, but because of the fact that Cam Kitchens did make All ACC and he did lead the nation, tied for the nation in interceptions. 6, I'm going to give that a B minus. I'll give him a B minus because there were times that the safeties did bottle things up, especially in the red zone. There was times that in that Virginia game where the safety room shined, and even versus Clemson, where I thought that there was like, oh man, here we go. They're about to really blow this the score out, early. And I know the first quarter score in that game was 21-0, but I think the safeties held their own in situations where the things weren't looking so bright for the defense. And then special teams, I got to give that special teams an A minus. I mean, Andy Borregales, 32 of 32 from extra points this season, 17 of 20 from field goal, from the field, 85% as a field goal kicker. He was 6 of 6 from 20 to 29 range, 7 of 8 from the 30 to 39 range, 4 of 5 from the 40 to 49 yard range, and he was 0 for 1 from 50 plus. His longest was 49 yards this season, and then 83 points. He tallied 83 points for the offense or special teams, whatever you want to say. And then obviously made all ACC as an honorable mention. And then Lou Hedley, that guy's going to go in the NFL. Whether he gets drafted or not is another story. You never almost really see punters get drafted, but he's going to be playing on Sunday. The kid can boom it, makes all ACC, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the special teams is probably the best unit of the season for Miami. So I'm going to go ahead and give them an A. Heck, call it an A plus. Why not, right? So that's kind of like the grades breakdown that I'll give the guys this season. And we'll see, man. We'll see what goes on in this offseason. You saw Miami pull off another recruit that wasn't really being talked about unless you kind of pay attention to recruiting like that. You heard Gabby say in the last segment that what's his name? Our arching. Oh God, I'm not gonna try and pronounce it. Jesus Collins. A King Pong, former Michigan commit, flipped him earlier today from Santa Margarita, California. 6'7", 254-pound edge rusher. Can definitely depend on him putting his hand in the dirt on the inside of the formation in certain packages. But this is a guy that you want creating havoc with those long arms, batting balls down for Miami on the edge. And that's the second DN commit for Miami in this class. Remember, don't forget you got Jaden Wayne from IMG Academy as the number 7 overall edge rusher in the country, 4-star guy out of IMG. And just a quick breakdown for Miami's class. They are now ranked 8th in the nation according to 247. They have them ranked at 8, and their composite ranking is also 8th. So Cormani McClain, best cornerback in the country, 5-star, 2nd overall player in the country. Francis Maugoa, number 1 offensive tackle in the country. And both 5-star guys there. Make sure you guys hear me. Okay. Jaden Wayne, third highest ranked recruit in Miami's class. Just talked about him. Malik Bryant, 4th highest ranked player in Miami class. Linebacker out of Orlando, 6'2", 235. The kid could move. You got Riley Williams, 2nd best tight end in the country. Robert Stafford, a do-it-all cornerback over from Melbourne, Florida. 4-star kid Nathaniel Joseph, speedster wide receiver from right here in Miami, Edison Senior High School. Raul Aguirre from Miami, but he plays his high school ball right now in Georgia, 4-star linebacker. We talked about Collins, King Pong. Robbie Washington, wide receiver from Palmetto, was at Killian, 4-star, another speedster, 5'10" kid. Anton Jackson, safety, 6 foot 170 from Dillard, 4-star kid. Antonio Tripp, not rated high enough, 3-star kid from IMG Academy. He's probably going to play center or guard. Connor Liu, the highest ranked center in the country, 6'3", 280. Bobby Washington, a freak at linebacker. He's only rated a 3-star, but the kid could move. He can fly, moves like a safety at 6'3", 215. Jackson Carver, I love that kid. From Indiana, tight end. Miami got 3 tight ends in this class. The 3rd tight end being Reed McKiska, who Miami won over from Alabama. And Tommy Klinger was a Florida flip, 6'6", 330-pound offensive guard, or maybe tackle, I don't know. Emory Williams. Remember, this is a guy in Emory Williams that rated higher than Jaden Rashada at the Elite 11 camp. So keep an eye out for Emory Williams. Don't sleep on him. Caleb Spencer, linebacker out of Virginia, 3-star guy. Frankie Tillanau, 6'5", 315, out of LaSalle right here in Miami. So Mario is not done. Signing day is like 2 weeks away. It's going to be on Wednesday, it's either December the 7th or December the 14th. I want to say it's December the 7th. Either way, it's coming up. I want to say it's like in 2 weeks. So keep your eyes on that. We're going to be all over it as Miami fans. I know I am. And we'll talk to Gabby next week about that. But, guys, I'm running out of time. That's all I got. And season's over for Miami. College football season is not over. So I'm going to be watching some college football. I'm going to be paying attention to the class. And I like to say that college football is the best reality show that we have out there because especially now with NIL, you know how coaches like to move all over the place. And actually, I'm not done. I got to get my real McCoys out there. So I'm going to do that really quick. So I got 3 real McCoys to give out. And anybody that's been paying attention to the show throughout the season knows that they don't necessarily have to go to Miami Hurricanes. It could go to a coach. It could go to a player. It could go to a fan base. Who knows? So real quick before we go, 3 real McCoys.
We're holstered and ready to unleash this week's Real McCoys. Time to hand out awards for this week's MVPs for the Miami Hurricanes. The Real McCoys.
So big time week in college football. Last game for a lot of teams, right? And things are just going to get juicier. And so there was a couple storylines this past week. Couple big plays, couple big scores, couple things that you kind of saw happen that you maybe didn't expect. And one of those things, if you guys are paying attention to college football this past week, some upsets, all right, depending on, what if you consider it, a rivalry game and an upset, we'll see. The Egg Bowl was a great game. Mississippi State, Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin lost that one. Shouts out to Lane Kiffin for fleecing Auburn, using Auburn to sign an extension. He ended up signing an extension, and he's going to stay at Ole Miss for the foreseeable future. But third place, Real McCoy, man, I want to give that to NC State. Why do I want to give it to NC State? They won their rivalry game against the Tar Heels. They won that game 30-27. And I like that because NC State is supposed to be, this darling and everybody. I still don't get it with them. I'm not saying they're a bad team. Drake May is a hell of a quarterback. That's a former Alabama commit, right? And then a quarterback that goes to Alabama, especially now, right? Look at Bryce Young, followed in the footsteps, Tua, this, that, and the third. Jacob Coker wasn't an all-world guy, but he ends up winning a national championship. He was over at FSU for a while. And I don't know. I don't know about UNC because they're a team that Miami only lost to by 3 points, but then they're also a team that lost to Georgia Tech 21-17. So I'm just not totally buying in on that, but I like the fact that NC State beat them because UNC had so much hype going into the season, as they seem to have almost every year now. So I'm going to give the third place Real McCoy to the NC State Wolfpack as a whole.
Real McCoy.
Another game that I was paying attention to that a lot of people were, I think a lot of college football fans did pay attention to it, right? And so it's just kind of funny how things work out. South Carolina, okay, goes into Death Valley and wins 31-30. All right, 31-30. You guys remember when Clemsoning was a thing? Remember Clemsoning? That meant Clemson's going to lose a game that they shouldn't. They did it again. And the thing that I love about that Clemsoning phrase is that Dabo Swinney hates it. He was asked about it a couple of seasons ago on one of Clemson's media days, and he absolutely went off. It was funny. It was hilarious because he started turning red and everything, and that whole Southern accent started to come out even more, and it was hilarious. It was just the funniest thing. Well, they did it. Clemson did the whole Clemsoning thing again. They lost at home, and not that this affected their college football playoff chances or anything like that, but just see them lose a game that they were probably supposed to win. Now, Spencer Rattler, former Oklahoma quarterback, 360 yards, 2 touchdowns, 25 of 39. They're 8-4 on the season, and we'll see what they do in a bowl game. But shouts out to the South Carolina Gamecocks for going into Death Valley and beating the Clemson Tigers in their rivalry game of the Palmetto State, 31-30.
Real McCoy.
And then the last Real McCoy, all right, I'm probably going to keep this on the same front in terms of teams, and wins that I kind of liked over, a rival or a game that I was kind of paying attention to. So, like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on, all right, and I just kind of like the way that this team bounced back versus a team that scores a lot of points. I think there's a lot of questions going into Tennessee versus Vanderbilt, and I'll tell you why. Hendon Hooker wasn't available, tore his ACL. So you kind of wondered how the leader of this team and a guy that was being talked about as a Heisman contender, maybe front runner, depending on who you talk to or maybe who you listen to or watched or whatever. I was interested to see how that offense was going to respond. Okay. But their backup quarterback, Milton, had 147 yards, only threw the ball 21 times. And you kind of wonder that a 56-0 score at Vanderbilt. Again, Vanderbilt was scoring a lot of points this season. And just to kind of remind you guys of what Vanderbilt did this season, they scored 63 points, 42 points, 45 points, 38 points, 55, 52, 55 points. And then they didn't score at all against Tennessee. Tennessee won that game 56-0. But just a heart that FSU, I don't know where that came from, just a heart that and mentality that Tennessee showed, having their leader at quarterback, Hendon Hooker, a guy that I thought was going to be a not so good college quarterback. Remember what he looked at Virginia Tech? It's crazy what a change of scenery does for a guy and a change of system does for a guy. Okay, obviously him going to Tennessee, learning an offense through a guy that played quarterback at Oklahoma, and I think he won a national not a national championship, a Heisman Trophy when he was at Oklahoma. But Hendon Hooker, man, that's just a guy that I was really paying attention to this Tennessee team to see what they look like. And they end up winning at Vanderbilt 56-0. I thought it was going to be a shootout. I'm not saying Tennessee was going to lose, but they'll get the first place for real. McCoy winning at Vanderbilt 56-0. And Tennessee ends their season ranked 10th. Actually, no, they are 10-2 on the season, 62 in the conference. We'll see what they do in bowl seasons, but they get the first place for real McCoy.
Real McCoy.
And that does it for the real McCoys. So
that's this week's Real McCoys on the Miami Hurricanes Watch.
Just because the season's over doesn't mean that the show's going to be over. We didn't have the Gridiron roundtable because there's really nothing to talk about. All three teams are not playing this week, and that's what O likes to talk about with Manny Navarro and Irish O'Fell and, I can't remember the Gators correspondent. My fault. My bad. But we're going to be here because we're going to be talking recruiting. We're going to still have some guests coming on. And I think things are going to get a little bit spicy with this transfer portal too. So we'll be on same time, same place next week right here on the 305 Sports Talk Network. Appreciate you guys for sticking around with me. Gabby Rudia, thanks again. Shouts out to the Canes in their recruiting class, now 8th in the country with a 5-7 record. How about that? You guys have a good week.
You've been listening to the Miami Hurricanes Watch with host Mike McCoy on the Sports Talk 305 network. The Watch is mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Shobe. Please subscribe to the Big O Radio Show on most platforms. Thank you for supporting the Miami Hurricanes Watch. Have a great night, Canes fans.